Natural gas drilling is something that people in Chautauqua County, Western New York, are used to. There's been a history of safe natural gas drilling for many, many years. What we think of now as fracking is not your grandfather's gas drilling. It's a very different process. It involves, instead of 80,000 gallons of fresh water per fracking event, 5 million gallons of fresh water. So that's just one of the major differences. Fracking involves really an industrialization of the entire landscape. So it's a really different process. I think that it is an issue in this campaign in the 23rd Congressional District. The so-called sweet spot of the Marcellus Shale includes Chemung, Steuben, and Tioga counties. There's 3 of the 5 counties that are most likely to have fracking if there's Marcellus Shale drilling. So it's an issue. People are aware of it. People are aware of the dangers as well as the possible benefits. I think this is an issue where there's a huge difference between Tom Reed and me. Tom Reed, and this is a nonprofit group that tracks campaign donations, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, did a study. They looked at all the senators and Congress members across the country and what was their take, what kind of campaign contributions did they receive from oil and gas interests. Tom Reed has received more than any other New York legislator from the fracking industry in direct campaign contributions by a big margin. So when he says, fracking is the answer to everything, you have to think, he's pretty much paid to say that. I will tell you, he has said he doesn't think fracking is a good idea in the Finger Lakes. Conveniently, he has a summer home on one of the Finger Lakes, so he's decided that maybe the trucks are not a good idea in the Finger Lakes. So I think if it's not good enough for his neighborhood where he has a summer home, maybe it's not good for any of us. I've been part of a group. I helped to start a group called Elected Officials to Protect New York. We wrote a letter about 2 years ago to Governor Cuomo. It said, we take you at your word, Governor, that you will make a decision about fracking based on the science, not the politics. We said you have to do a health impact study. You haven't done that. You need to do a cumulative environmental impact study, and you need to do a cost-benefit study that looks at the costs and not just the benefits. So we got that letter, we wrote that letter, took it around to local elected officials. More than 800 local elected officials across every county in New York State, bipartisan, Republican, Democrat, Independent, have signed that letter. And it didn't call for a ban. It said, we need to do the science. The gas isn't going anywhere, and once you do it, you can't undo it. So please take time and study this process and the issues for public health and public safety. So we are now kind of waiting to see what Governor Cuomo does. I am pleased that the health study that's been done by the Department of Health is going on. And apparently because of, according to documents that were uncovered through a public disclosure, it looks like they're doing a thorough study, and I think that's the right thing for New York. We need the jobs. We need quality, good, sustainable jobs, but we need jobs that don't pick winners and losers the way the gas industry does. We can invest in clean energy and conservation. Those renewable energy creates 3 times as many jobs for every $1 million invested. So this is what we need to incentivize in New York State, and that's the way of the future. As I've talked to people around the state and around the 23rd District, you'd be amazed how much people know about hydrofracking. And in fact, this is a case where I think citizens have educated the government. We have seen polls, and everybody's seen similar polls, where it's pretty much, it's maybe a wash if you look at statewide polls, but in upstate New York, in most polls, you actually see a majority opposing fracking. Not just more opposing than in favor, but actually more than 50% opposing fracking. We don't know. You know, if we had the 23rd Congressional District, we don't have a referendum just on our district and what people would say, but I will say that there are local citizen groups working on this issue in every county, in almost every town actually. I mentioned before the elected officials to protect New York. Earlier this year I called all of the elected officials who are on that letter, who are in the 23rd Congressional District, to introduce myself, thank them for signing that letter. Most of them are Republican. Several of them said, oh, our whole legislature is against it, or our whole Republican town committee is against it, and they can never get it through here. So this is not a partisan issue, in fact. It's an issue of people who feel conservative about their quality of life, conservative about the economy that we have here, conservative in the sense of conserving what we value, and with a healthy skepticism about the multinational industry that is the gas industry. Natural gas drilling is something that people in Chautauqua County, Western New York, are used to. There's been a history of safe natural gas drilling for many, many years. What we think of now as fracking is not your grandfather's gas drilling.